The Mississippi River is not the Nile River. I get dozens of comments about this a week, so I want to address it again. I've addressed it many times before. Most specifically, I want to address this verse, Isaiah 11:15, because it is frequently brought up in the comments. This verse is typically what people base their argument on for the Mississippi River being the Nile. But I want to point out this scripture is not referencing the Nile, it is referencing the Euphrates. This translation reads, "The Lord will split the tongue of the Egyptian sea. God will wave a hand over the Euphrates with a powerful wind and break it into 7 streams so that it can be crossed in sandals." Maybe that's just a bad translation, you say. Well, maybe, but let's look at all these other translations. So in the Bible, there's often a word used for river that is capitalized. So there is a capital R river, and that is referring to the Euphrates because it was the major river. It was the big river, the big muddy, right? So let's look at what all these versions say. River, river, capital R river, capital R river. Here's one that says Nile, the AMPC. It says the river Nile. Let's see how many others say Nile. That's a lowercase river. This one says Euphrates, Euphrates, Euphrates River. Going on down, the Euphrates River. There's one, a lowercase river, Euphrates. It goes on and on. That one up there, that Nile, that's the only Nile in this entire list. Maybe there's another translation out there somewhere that also says Nile. That's not included on this Bible Hub app. I'm sure there's probably one or two floating out there. But most of them say, almost all of them say Euphrates or capital R river. So to reference the Mississippi as the Nile doesn't make sense based on the 7 streams theory because it's the Euphrates, and I do believe it's the Euphrates. And the reason I think this is because we have been able to map it out using other information in the Bible about the location of the Euphrates in relation to other biblical locations. We have also been able to map out the location of the Nile, which is the Colorado River, based on information in the Bible about the Nile in reference to other locations in the Bible. There's a lot more information than just this, okay? Also, I would like to point out the Colorado River also has 7 major tributaries. So either way you spin it, just saying. I also would like to argue that to limit the Mississippi to only 7 tributaries is kind of strange. It has a lot more than that as well. I don't know how you decide which ones to count and which ones not to count. I mean, I guess you count the biggest ones, the most major ones, but there's other pretty big ones that also run into it. So anyway, this verse is not what I'm basing this off of, my understanding of the Mississippi being the Euphrates. It's actually the intensive mapping I have done from the scriptures, mapping out these locations in great detail in relationship to other biblical locations that we've also been able to map out, and they all correlate to what the scriptures say perfectly. So there you go. The Nile is not the Mississippi.